Hello and welcome to the show. How's everybody doing today? Heather, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Do you want to ask this question? Because I'm going to ask you how you're feeling. The audience would like to know as well. So now you have to answer.
Yeah, I'm all right.
You know what it's like when you go to the grocery store and the person you've never met before, the one who's in the cash register and stuff, and they're like, "So, how are you today?" And you don't really want to tell them, "I'm lousy. I've had the worst day ever. I'm not feeling great." Nowadays you can stop for that, so don't do it. But I'm just saying, I'm fine.
Right.
How are you?
You're right. I'm not that great. That's okay though. I am under the weather, but that's okay. Under the weather is fine. That's part of life. But I felt like I really needed to be here because I met this guy that we have as a guest on a while back, and I am looking so forward to this because I know this is something that can help anybody that has a website. That's the easiest way to put it, don't you think?
There you go.
If you use Google My Business too, you're going to get some great insight. I can't wait. This is going to be awesome. So without further ado, let's bring on our guest, William Rock. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Long time no see. Thanks again for inviting me to the show. This is awesome.
100%. Are you kidding me? I love it. I'm just glad you said yeah. Sometimes you're so dang busy that it's tough to work it in. I get that.
It's been a busy week. I mean, a busy year, hasn't it?
Yeah. Interesting year. Let's put it this way. Interesting year. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
Hey, I always ask everybody, I'm going to ask everybody in the audience, but I also ask you, where are you from? Country, city, state, whatever. Any of those fits. Just tell us where you're at, where you come from.
So I came from Southern California. I grew up in the mountains. So I was a complete ski bum and snowboard bum for the longest time. So Lake Arrowhead, California is where I grew up for most of my recent days. I guess I was high school time, right? So high school time. My younger days. I'm a little older. I got grandbabies now.
I hear you.
I know, right? But yeah, there was a high school out there called Rim of the World High School. It was really rim of the world. It was just really on the edge of the mountain. The road you would drive up to high school. Sometimes pure fog, sometimes pure snow and fog, and then other days it was absolutely beautiful. And you could go right to the school. But yeah, that's
so. Where are you now?
I'm in Kansas City. So Kansas City. I know, right? That's a long ways away from California, isn't it?
I know. It's quite a ways. And we got some folks out there from Canada. We got all over the world. That's one thing that's really nice about doing these things. We get people from all different parts of the world, which is so, I don't know. I just think that's so fascinating and interesting that we can do that and have that ability. That's what I like. Retouching a lot of different
tech. Yeah. Amazing technology. I mean, it wasn't like this before when we first started, right?
Exactly. There you go.
Now look at everything.
Ski bum in Tahoe. There you go, Jeff.
There you go. I skied Tahoe a lot of times. I mean, I was actually a ski instructor, so I ended up traveling from mountain to mountain, and they allowed me to, if I taught lessons or private lessons in the morning, that I would just go on the mountain for free.
Oh,
so
wow.
There you go. Definitely moving from mountain to mountain.
We are tinkeringwithtech.net. You can go to our website, see what we're all about, and become a member if you want to. There's a private section. You can sign up, and there's a bunch of join buttons on there. Feel free to join in. We would love to have you in our community. It's $10 a month.
Speaking of members,
go ahead.
I want to say hello to one of our members is here. We've got a
Scott Scowcroft.
But I haven't seen Scott Scowcroft in a while, so I really wanted to say hello to him.
Yeah,
Scott, it's great to see you in the crowd. Thank you.
Rich says, next time I drive by Lakewood off the 405, I'll wave for you.
I love it. There you go. You got all kinds of folks here. This is awesome. Fantastic. All right, well, let's get right at it because we don't have a whole lot of time, but I also want to save some time. One of the benefits of the community is that we have a backstage pass. So afterward, you'll be able to chat directly with our guests. So that's one of the cool things. So let's get right to it and show some of the stuff that we're going to talk about. Fire away, William. I'm going to get you. Let me pull you up on screen here. Let me add this. There we go. All right. You're ready to go.
All right. Well, thanks again, guys. This is going to be not a fast show, but I got 33 slides in here, so I'm going to try to get all of them in there. But it's packed with a lot of stuff. As you said before, last time we did this, we hit the top of Yeah, the key elements of like the Google My Business, the analytics, and the webmaster tools. We're going to go through that. We're also going to go through a few other things. So let's go ahead and get started. With that, I can click on it. There we go. All right. So just as a brief, I'm also a product expert with Google. So I'm part of that wonderful program. As you can see, there's a picture of both of us up there on the corner.
That's great.
I think we've been doing this since 2015 together. Every year we have a conference. Google flies us out there, and we get to participate in learning sessions on the topics that we are expert level in.
And I have yet to grow any hair. I'm just kidding.
You do look the same, don't you? I think. Well, yep, you got your glasses on your head. I couldn't. But
That's true. That's true. They're now reading glasses, so that's true. All right. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Well, at least you got a chance to see me that time. On the last time where we got nominated up on there on the screens. That's the other picture here.
Awesome.
It was really nice that they did that. I mean, I got a chance to. I don't remember what the title was, but I think anyhow it was just neat to see that I was up there. And out of all the people that are in this program, they chose me, and just
so cool.
Tickled pink about it, right?
I think it had to do with oh my God, why can't I think of it? It's where you put all the stuff onto oh my God, I can't even think of it. I'll think of it later. Go ahead. Go.
All the stuff into like the forums? Posting.
No,
I mean, we were posting
like on Google Maps when you do a review and stuff like that. Local guide.
Google Local Guides is definitely a fun program. I think it was.
I think that's what it was, because you did this big thing in your town and they recognized you for that. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it was. But anyway, go ahead.
So we do it with a passion though, right? So we're in this program. We love what we do. And we do it for the people. And just kind of like what we're doing today, we're giving back a little bit of knowledge and trying to get some areas of hopefully one of these nuggets is take you a little bit of away from COVID. The negativity, and then grab your business and say, okay, what else can I do with my business? So a little bit further about the actual support group and everything else with Google. I mean, they have a forum for every single product they have. As you can see kind of on my screen, the list goes all the way down. I mean, the primary ones, of course, is Google Chrome. That's their flagship. But then everything else will fall in place of that. With next, the most important piece, I think, with Google and having a business is making sure that it's listed. If you're not listed on this website or on their listing, which is free, you're missing out on a lot of business. So for anybody that's in the website or having a website for their business, I would definitely make sure that this is actually registered. And what I mean by this is when you do a search for your business, in this case, I'm using Casey Strings, but if you do a search for your business and you look over here to the right-hand side, this is all your listings. This is what your customers are going to see. If you've got the wrong telephone number on there, you're not going to get calls. It's just bottom line, right? Website address might not be linked up. Well, they might not know how to get to a website, but you might have a website. Be able to control your listing, and it's free, like I said. And if you basically look down here, it says own this business, click on the button. If you're already registered with it, more than likely you already know that you've registered for it and you've got a postcard. And so you've gone through the verification process. It's really simple. Once you actually click on the own this business, it will pop up a link that will then put you into a registration process. It will ask you for basic information, and then it's going to send you a postcard. And with that, within about, I think, 1 to 2 business weeks, and when you get that postcard, it has a verification number on there. When you log back into the Google My Business platform dashboard, you'll then put that number in, and it'll be up in the top. It'll be red. You won't miss it. And once you put that number in, then you have access to the rest of the stuff I'll show you here. So once you log in, I scribbled out some of these because I'm only using Casey Strings as the example today, but it'll tell you how many locations you can manage. So you might have 5 different stores locations, and so you're going to have to verify each one of those locations. And just you'll be able to keep reviews on that store, lots of different things going on. Once you actually click into, so now as I click on the Casey Strings I go into the actual listing information. So just like what we saw on the web browser from just doing a search on Google for Casey strings, now we're brought to a dashboard with little pencil icons. And most of the time we would basically click on a pencil icon, and most people know, hey, I can edit that field. And you can change it to whatever you need it to be. If it's not your proper spelling of your name, or it's abbreviated wrong, or it's maybe your old name that you had before, same location. So that's where you can actually change that information. Down below, you've got all of your hours of operation, and you can see off to the left-hand side here, you've got a lot of different tabs to search through on this product. So you've got your home, which we first started out with, and then we've got posts, info. So we're currently on the info tab. We've got the opportunity to see data on how many people are calling her, how many people are searching for maps, how many people are calling, how many people are driving directions to your location. There's just a lot of great stuff in there. The next one,
since you brought this up, just a quick question personally.
Sure.
On the website one on the left-hand side, I know that you can link to your website, but is there a way to create a website from there as well? And if you do, is it a Google site?
It is a Google site.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's a different piece, yeah. And
that's
so
okay. That you answered. That's all I needed. Just that's cool. Thanks.
No, you're good. But it takes me to another piece. Some companies don't have enough money to do a website.
That's true. Good point.
If you don't have a website, but you have a business, you can still use that tab, and that will actually start setting up in their Google Site Builder, I think it is, and you're just dragging and dropping things. It's not as much control as you would with like a WordPress, right? But it does give you that opportunity that you can have product pages or about pages or the information that people are going to want to get in contact with you, or just understand a little bit more about your product.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No bells and whistles like sliders and.
Yeah, that's good though. That's awesome.
So with that, everything, you're going to be able to control everything by editing these little buttons. And it's pretty self-explanatory for that. The next thing that I think is really crucial for businesses, and I think a lot of people forget about this, or don't even know that this even exists, but posts. A post is kind of like, everybody does social posts, right? So we kind of know how to put together a picture. We know how to put together content, share.
Yeah, Sheila just talked about it. That was her latest comment, talking about posts. Posts are wonderful.
Oh my goodness. And it brings a lot of traffic, because what happens is, just like when we search for Casey strings on the Google search bar, it will actually bring up these posts on the left-hand side. And you can have a couple different posts running at the same time. And they last for 7 days. So originally these were brought up for, I think, even the restaurant business, where they might have a weekly special, and now they're putting that on their map listing so that they can actually advertise that.
I've actually seen that on like Hobby Lobby and stuff like that.
I've seen those, and I didn't know how they did them. That's pretty cool.
So once you get into the posts, and then the neat part about posts are, it's going to give you the update. So how many people clicked on it. There's a lot of really interesting data that you can pull from that. Like I said, it's going to last 7 days, and then you just put another one up there. And I think, don't quote me on this, but it's been like 4 posts at one time can be running. And it turns on a little slider. So you'll see a slider between on desktop. On mobile, I think it's only going to show one at a time.
Yeah, and you have to slide them yourself, I think. Yep, I think I've seen that.
So definitely, if you guys have the opportunity to look into, the post, you've got opportunities up top. So up here on the top right, you've got add an offer. So if you've got something that is on special right now, buy one, get one free type stuff, that's where that's going to go. And it really gets some neat exposure on the maps, and it looks differently as well. So it's got a different interface to it. The add products, if you've got products, add every single product you've got. It doesn't have a limit. It didn't seem I've added quite a few of them. An update might be, hey, my business is still closed during this time, and will reopen maybe in August. Give them a kind of time frame. But that does also show up on your listing. So it's helpful for the user to not actually end up getting driving directions and going to your location and then finding out you're actually still closed. And that brings me to the next point, where there's still a lot of restaurants out there. As we've gone through this, COVID experience, they're closed, but they're not notifying on Google My Business that they're closed. So I think that's something I would suggest as a business owner, if you're actually closed currently, have those kind of updates. Utilize the post to notify your customers so that you are coming back and they're ready when you're ready. So,
Nice.
All right,
Sheila
we
said-
have a question here from Sheila.
Yeah, go ahead.
William, can you put up a short video in your posts yet?
you can. I think it has to be 30 seconds,
Mhm.
but I'm not quite sure. It's been a while since I've done it. I know things have changed. So I want to say you can, especially from the admin of the Google My Business dashboard. In fact, let's just jump into this real quick, and we will see. Yeah, I think they. Oh, there I saw it. So add a photo or video.
Nice.
So I don't know if that's just because it's an event. So it might be. So we'd have to play with it. I know that when you go into here, so you go into the actual photos, you have a little bit of freedom in this area to add video. So here's where you can add video to your. So
Right.
just like you would have images and
It's like a slideshow for them, for people that are come on your site. Yeah.
And so you just basically drag your MP4 into that, and it starts to upload. I would imagine that it's probably going to be needing to be short, but I don't know for sure. I think.
Well, you just want it to be short because I think just for it to render on different people's devices and computers and stuff like that, you don't want it to be really long, but at least have a video that you can just kind of maybe do a walkthrough of your restaurant or something like that. I think
Absolutely. Cool. It's like almost you have the opportunity to build a commercial. I mean, we all have capabilities with our smartphones to do a lot of this stuff. In fact, what we've actually done here at Dynamic Consultants Group, we are doing just that. We've actually got 15-second commercials, and then a little bit longer, which is going to be 30 seconds, and testing those out with paid search. So,
awesome.
All right, so let me go back into the slides. Great question, you guys. Fantastic. So hopefully answered that, Sheila, for you.
She said, I've been waiting to do that on mine, so thanks. Yep.
Perfect. Love these little nuggets. So you're going to hopefully take away a few of them that you guys can implement today, and some of them in the future. Insights, I really like insights, and I can't give it justice with just the slides. So we're going to go into this report in live mode here in a second. But insights is really, how does the customer search for your business? And this is just a simple chart where it's basically saying, okay, I've got 10,000 searches. Majority is discovery. So they basically found them on a search listing, a product, service. So they found us somewhere in all that user interface modifications you keep getting tested by with Google. One thing might be there one day and one thing might not be there the other day. But with that, you have even more as we click on this link, and we'll go into it, and it'll make more sense once you see it in person. So, we can actually highlight over these bars and start to get a better idea of, okay, well, how many, direct versus, so they've actually knew who I was probably with KC Strings for this case. Most of the teachers in schools have it on the listing, and if they're going back to school, they're probably doing research. And so with that, the research comes the queries. What are they typing to get to your listing? So we can see violin, cello, a lot is branded KC Strings, but the majority of it is just straight violin, which is gorgeous. I mean, somebody types in the violin and you are in that area, and there's probably I think there's 20 other violin places where you can, rent or purchase from in that area. So in that radius, he's capturing some good audience. And this is only a snapshot for a month. I can go and say, okay, I just want to know a week, and it'll load the data for that same query. So violin's still in the master. We've got, bass strings. So somebody's looking for replacement strings. Same thing with violin string. So it gives us an idea. Okay, well, we could probably even run a post about violin strings on sale.
That's exactly what Sheila just said. Insights are so good; it helps you make better posts, etc. So right on, Sheila.
Yes, absolutely. And content. When you start to look at if people are searching for you and they're finding you and they're getting directions, that's kind of the path to success for cheating in one way. You're like, okay, I now know the data that people are coming to me with. How do I do it more? And that's where article building, you could be answering a question and now show up organic, right up in the organic results. And then you could also do double dip and pay for traffic to that same page after you've written it. So it depends on, and to take it a little bit further, even the knowledge panel or the knowledge graph. So you'll actually see the answer boxes where they kind of fly out. You could answer a question and all of a sudden have that answer on that first page, and that person might actually click on the link to find out more information. I mean, if it's basically, what color is the sky, it's different for everybody, but at the same time, is it relevant at that time, and how can you make that more attractive? So answering that question, but then also call to action. Can we help you with something? Set up a meeting with us. Schedule a demo and try out a violin or a cello in person, or we can do that over a video call, and you can hear it, see the product in action and stuff. So lots of different things that can transpire out of that data. So let's move on.
Here's a question from Mark about is there Q&A on a listing? Is there a place where they can ask questions? I often see questions asked in the review section. Is there an actual Q&A section on the listing?
So that would actually be under message. Well, messaging is a different thing, but I'm trying to think. They would actually get notifications if somebody. So let's just go back out to Casey Strings itself, and you should be able to see that. Sorry. I think that's only on mobile. And then
interesting.
I think it's only on mobile. So if I look at the same thing and looked at their mobile listing.
It kind of makes sense though, sort of.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, it should be there. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm going over to Casey Strings on mobile.
Yep. If I can spell it right. Here we go. All right. So
no, they close soon. We better hurry, everybody.
Let's see. Updates, reviews, photos. I guess they don't have it on theirs either. I remember seeing that quite often.
Interesting.
I used to see that quite often, but they may have actually just turned that off temporarily because of COVID. I've been hearing a lot of things that were disabled. Reviews were even disabled for a certain amount of time. So
interesting.
That could be the fluctuation why we're not seeing it. But almost every single time, like I just went out to a restaurant and ordered some food takeout, and it was the same thing. I went up, picked up, but I was able to ask a question previously, but not this time. So, all right, let's go back to the presentation. That was a good question, though. Thank you. All right, so what we were at last.
All right, we're 25 minutes in, so we need to kind of get on to where we are because I want to wrap this up some. You know what I'm saying? We're getting close.
So let's just go through the. Let's see. So the other stuff that I wanted to kind of show as far as insights. I mean, you've got opportunity to look through even more of like where if they looked on search and found your listing, like the Casey String that was a straight search, or with actually on maps and looking for you, which is helpful information. Times a day. So phone calls, you might be getting busy on certain days. So you might want to actually have more staff to answer that and make sure that every call is getting taken care of. Because you definitely don't want to miss a sale. This is 100, so it shows currently 112, which is great. But you can dive into this data. There's just so much to see. But what I did is I'm going to jump into Google Analytics. I know we have kind of limited time, but some of the places that you can actually go, and we already have the slide in the description of the show, but with that, Google has some great tutorials. They've got it's called the Academy, and you literally go through videos and just walks you through how to work with your business. It starts at a beginner level, and you'll start to climb with your education. If you wanted to sign up, I think I got the wrong link here, but marketingplatform.google. I think that's what it is. Let's double check. Yep.
I did already add that to our community. So if you're a community member, you've already got access to the link for the special, as well as the link to these slides right now. So community members, it's available to you now in the group.
Fantastic. So in analytics, there's a ton of information in one of these programs. Now Google gives this away to business owners for free as well. So we'll have all this data, but we're getting it for free, which is gorgeous. As we're looking at this data right now, I'm just at the home screen. So this is where it'll give you a chance to see, live users, if you've got more or less users, how long their sessions are, your bounce rate, meaning wise. Bounce is important. If you see a high bounce rate, something's wrong more than likely on that page, or they just got a quick answer and they were gone. So two different things. One could be that they're basically not finding the content once they made that search. They landed on the page and that really wasn't what they wanted. And a lot of us, we all kind of know, hey, there's the back button. So they went back to the search engine and started doing another search, meaning wise, you just lost that potential customer. So trying to figure out how all those different things work, the next report that I really want everybody to kind of focus on, if you haven't really seen where your traffic's coming from, is under acquisition on the left-hand side. You'll actually go down to source and medium. And what this is going to do is it's going to break out the source medium, meaning was Google organic or Google paid or direct. Maybe they had you bookmarked or you had a business card out there. And then other ones like Bing organic, Yahoo organic. You'll see the traffic. You'll get a chance to see how many users you have. Also take a look at what the independent bounce rate is for it. So you might have a higher bounce rate out of, say, Google than you do Yahoo, right? Same thing. So as we're kind of looking at the analytics of this stuff, okay, people came through, they bounced or they stuck, and they went through maybe 2, maybe 3 pages deep, and they stayed on my website for an average of 1.26. And they didn't go through one of my goals. So probably didn't fill out one of my forms. So really good, helpful information there. You can dig down deeper into it. And then you can also start doing monthly reports where it will email you that report if you want each week or every month. The other thing I think is very important is under acquisitions, but it's under Search Console. Search Console Google Search Console is like the window into what Google sees for, like impressions, how many times somebody queried and your listing came up was an impression, and then how many clicks, and then your average position, which can be very helpful when you start to look at things like queries, going back to what can we write about? We're obviously getting some traffic to these things. So like, for example, violin repair near me, we've gotten 7 visitors, and this is actually the report I pulled is only for the last 7 days. So it's still not that much data. And then when you start looking at their clicks versus just impressions, so this came up, 311 times, but it was clicked 7 times. Okay, that's a good thing. Now, what if we actually, so maybe we have I would hope that this query will actually result back to the violin repair page. And if it doesn't, then we need to figure out why. But most times it's going to go to that page, and then we can start to improve and optimize that page to get better, more traffic for it and different queries. You don't actually have to use that same a keyword in the content. It's going to be done by Google all by itself. So Google's like crazy smart on picking words apart and meanings and all that good. The other area that I want you guys to take a look at is under behavior. So we're looking at site content on that tab, and we're looking at all pages. The reason why I'm looking at all pages is because I want to be able to sort things. And I can click on each one of these areas, and I can sort the columns to kind of get a better idea of how what pages are converting, what pages could be a high bounce. So I can sort by high bounce and say, okay, I only want there's a 80% in here from the base extensions. Okay, why is it 80%? And if we go to that page, is there images that are loading slow? Is it just not really capturing their attention and they just leave? There's you start digging in, you start having a ton of questions. So as an optimizer, that's how I think it. So the next piece is going to be Google Search Console. So we actually were using Google Analytics just a second ago, and those both are connected together. So Search Console is that window of opportunity, but you have to set it up. And so I've got a link in here where you can do that as well. It's very free. It's free. The nice part about having it registered with Google Search Console, if there was a problem with your website, so maybe it was having some issues, maybe you were hacked, they are now able to actually get in communication with you and let you know. So they'll send a notification. That notification will come to your email. And then now you have an actionable item to go and log back into your Search Console and start to work through that and work with your webmaster to resolve anything that was there. So this is the window of opportunity. There's so much also data in here, but not as much as like the Google Analytics. It's a different type of data here. So what we're looking at right here is the performance overview. And this was labeled performance before. Now it's labeled search results. So it kind of messed me up when I was doing the slide presentation. I'm like, wait a second, where did performance tab go? It's funny. Google does a lot of changing for that. But you also will see down here at the bottom, you'll see coverage, and it'll tell you how many, if you have errors or if you don't have errors. So like right here, it says 0 page with errors. I'm liking that. 605 pages in the index. So that's doable. And then once you are clicking into this search tab right here, this is what you're brought up to. So you actually can start to see how many total clicks you've gotten in the last 3 months. You can change this to, I clicked on it. So I'm in live mode now. So I can change this to say last 7 days. I can do for last 16 months, and we can apply, and it just remembers all this information. So powerful little tool. And here's where so we were just talking about queries in Google Analytics. That's this data that we were just seeing. So that's pulled into Google Analytics so we can see it in one dashboard without having to go back and forth to two. Now, here's a really neat thing I'd like to do. And I start out with going to the pages. And so now I can go back to all the top pages of clicks, right? Or even impressions. So I can also go back to here, like maybe common repair list. And I can click on this. But now that I'm just looking at that data for that page, I would then come back over here to queries. And now what happens? This is the magic. You can then see all of the keywords that are showing for that one page. So
Okay.
Google is telling you, if I was to actually look at these queries, those queries are going to take me to this page in the filter. So so let me back up real quick, and I'll go back to that one move. So I'm back in the main area. Here's my queries, right? I'm going to go back to pages, and I'll just pick any other. So this next page brings me up to page information, right? And now that I'm in this report, I'm going to click queries, and it's just going to give me data just for that one page.
Wow. So you can really tweak what you're working on, like what you're doing as far as things you have listed within your website, pages, blogs, all the different things that you're aiming for to get people to interact with your site ultimately to a sale.
Absolutely.
And this is giving you all that detail. Wow.
It's giving you the data and detail, and you might actually find little nuggets in here that you might not be talking about, but it's getting traffic, right? So it's getting traffic to your website, and it all of a sudden might be something where it could go in your FAQ. It could be its own evergreen page that you're talking about, bass fishing lures, right? And now you've got all sorts of opportunities to come out of that. And now I've got a new piece of content that I can write about a lure
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's just like deeper dive. It's like a deeper dive into more specific of that particular thing. That's really kind of cool.
Understanding your audience better, really.
Yeah.
Understanding exactly who is looking for you and who is finding you and how they're using what you have to offer. So, man,
Absolutely.
we could do this for like 6 more hours.
We need to really wrap up.
We don't have 6 more hours.
I want to save some time for the community members, though.
Let's see how much I've got left in here. I don't think I've got very many slides. Oh, I guess I got a few.
Yeah, you do. Maybe you should do a second show.
We get to have William back. Yes. Oh, he didn't even say yes. I just said yes for him.
Yeah, I do. I'd love to come back for sure.
Oh, that would be great.
Count me in.
Yeah, so, let's touch on this again. I already put the link out there for the audience in all 3 areas. So
fantastic. So here's SEMrush real quick in a nutshell. It's the coolest tool. I've been with them for now I can't speak. 2006 was when I first was introduced to this company. And they were basically just giving us keywords and link data and really nothing like they have today. So I can literally type in into their domain overview dashboard. I can just type in my domain, or I can type in a competitor's domain, and I can get the data. I can know exactly what keywords they show up for, what keywords they're bidding on in AdWords, how their traffic is, consistency. So there might be a huge drop in a traffic element for a short amount of time. What was that? Was it an algorithm hit? Did they get in trouble with Google, and that's why they lost all that traffic? And then all of a sudden there's a big spike. I can look at their backlinks. There's just a lot of good stuff. But
there's a lot there. Wow.
And then so going back to even keywords, when you're building a campaign, and this is a totally different topic too, but paid advertising, Google Ads, you're utilizing the words that you want to be, that people are actually going to be typing in. In this case, I just typed in the word violin, right? And I actually have over 2,000 queries, I think, for this one. Let me just go into that report. That way it's a little easier to see this. So this has actually got all keywords. I've got 362,000 suggestions for the word violin. And so it's going to tell me its cost per click. So if I was paying for traffic, how much it's going to cost me for bidding on violin. So it's $1.16. And that's basically average. You could be at the bottom of the barrel on the bottom page of the advertising. But where I'm headed with this is you can start to do the same thing we were just doing with finding keywords. We can ask different questions as far as like right here, this tab right here, I can go questions. It's going to automatically switch over to what people are typing in on the internet. How to play violin. Is a fiddle a violin? So these opportunities are now content pages that your competition might not be writing.
Pretty cool.
And this is a part of that SEMrush that you have the 14-day free trial that they're offering just because you're here on the show today.
Yes. So they gave us a code, and it does require a credit card, but you're not going to be charged. So what I'm thinking is, go in here and test this tool, and then you're doing it for 15 days, and then glean as much as you can possibly glean out of it. But it's going to give you an opportunity to think or see if you like this tool, and it's going to be helpful for your business. That's worth the money that it is. So
wow, that's very cool.
It's not
all right. I have one.
So
I have one question here from Sheila. She says, give me a simple, quick definition of clicks versus impressions.
Sure. So impression, when I type in violin in Google, all of those pieces that came up in that search query, let's just do that. All of these pieces, so all these, everything that's on this page has a link. That's an impression, right? So if I
because you're seeing the link, right? You haven't actually interacted. You're just seeing a link. Okay.
Correct. So I'm only just looking at it. I haven't clicked anywhere. So now, as I'm everybody right now that I'm seeing it has in their analytics an impression from me. Now, only one person off this list gets to get clicked. I've chose that one. So now, basically, I've actually changed it from a impression to a click, and it's going to be recorded as such in Google Analytics and also in Search Console.
Awesome.
Hopefully that helped.
That's
That was
awesome.
quick and
Thank you.
simple.
This is
That's
great.
awesome.
Seriously, you have got to come back on because you can do your other 30 slides for
You have
2015.
you have so much stored up inside this head, William, that I want to sit with you for at least 2 more hours, and we're not going to do that today.
It's really cool though. It's really good stuff that you showed us though. And this is extremely helpful, especially for the small business.
Yes.
It's just fantastic. I mean, it's so fantastic. And hopefully some of our people that are looking at this and are interested in these kind of things, it can really help them out. Even if they don't pay for that software. Yeah. Even if you don't pay for that software, at least you get the free Google stuff that they give you.
Sure. I mean, if you can actually take advantage of all those other aspects, not even having SEMrush, you're going to be able to find that your business can perform better. Going back to posts, going back to making sure all of your reviews have responses to them, please, and make it don't just have the same exact response.
Right.
Every single review I've seen
canned response.
And corporate's not writing your response. Somebody at a keyboard is doing it. So
awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, folks, William's coming to the Backstage Pass. Anybody that's a member can come in and chat with William. We do appreciate that too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. I learn something every single time you come on because it's just incredible. And Heather's right. You know so much. My mind's blown, and I don't have any hair to hold anything in. So I mean, it's just like my mind's blown as far as that goes. Kind of cool.
Thank you guys.
So anyway,
appreciate it.
No, it's all right. I'm going to we're going to do the outro, but thank you everybody. We do appreciate every member and all that kind of stuff. Come on in the Backstage Pass. We'll send that link into the Hangout message box for you guys to come in. William will meet us over there. Thank you, William. Once again, we do appreciate it. Thank you. Bye, folks.